Hey, what's up, YouTube? This is Evie, and today I've got a little video, a very, very special, interesting video for you today. That is actually the reveal of something I've been dropping hints about for the past several months of me making a comic. And the fact is that the comic has been made for a while. At least for a season of it has been made for a while, and it's been released ever since. I believe it started in July. Um, July 1st, I believe, is when I first uploaded it. I can check that coming through here. Hold on. Yes, July 1st. So I did it without even looking. Good. Anyway, so excuse me. So this comic you're seeing on the screen right now, and this isn't like a big elaborate put together thing. I'm just gonna be live reviewing and showing some stuff of the comic and tell you about how like what it's about and show you like an example of the pages. So, uh, but let's before I get to showing you like the pages and stuff, I want to tell you the idea of where this came from. It's called Demonico, and that name didn't come till much later. I can promise you that. Excuse me. I just ate spicy chicken. It's killing me. But the name Demonica came much later after the concept was made, and I had already written like 7 episodes, I believe, before I came up with this. So with the name of it, but the idea came from a dream of, and you can read more about this in the Discord. I'll provide a link in the description. The idea came from a dream that I had where this boy was tricked into being brought to hell, and uh, the devil, for some reason in my dream, was a woman. Even though biblically speaking, the devil is always referred to as a man. But in my dream, it was a woman. So, uh, anyway, so basically, she pierced the boy's eye, and then teeth began to grow over the eye, uh, and like kind of shut in front of it. Basically, it grew from the eyelids, kind of, and just kind of shut over it. And another thing, like the city he was on, it was a floating city on like the ocean water, and and that's really all I can remember about it. I remember whenever I first woke up, I texted um, my friend Chris, and my brother, and just told them about the idea. Like told them how strange it was, because I never really had a dream uh, quite like that before. I've had some out there dreams, trust me. I think everyone has, but that one, it seemed like it had a bit more to it. Like I honestly woke up from that wanting to know more about this dream. Oh come on, freaking okay, Reddit. I don't even use Reddit, but it keeps sending me notifications. I gotta turn it off. Anyway, but I'm not a redditor, guys. Please. Okay, but the main thing is that I woke up from that dream wanting to know more about it, wanting to know more about the dream. So logically, since it's my dream, I was like, well, why don't I just make more? Why don't I just you know think about this concept, let it live in my head a little bit, and then after after I write some stuff down, maybe do some drawings. What could I do with this? And both my friend Chris and my brother, both of them sent me the almost the exact same message. Sounds like a cool idea for an anime. So I can't do animation. I don't have the time or the skill for that. So instead, it's a comic, and I'm pretty happy with how it's been turning out. There are some things I'm gonna go back and change design wise, but and you'll see the improvements as I show you a few things about this. But the main thing is that it was made 2019 September 20th. That's when the dream came from, and I started writing stuff down. Um, I knew that whenever I started making this, whenever I started writing, that I wanted to make a story that had a meaning, not just not just something just to put out there and have no kind of deeper meaning to it. And there is quite a lot of embedded meanings in this series here, and the point of view is from this character, and I'll go ahead and pull up his art right now, of Simon. This is the main character, and this is him using part of his power. So basically, he gets infected and becomes infected with demon blood, but he's able to resist it and basically become half demon, which obviously the story isn't going for realism or anything, any kind of accuracy. But I do use a lot of well, not a lot, but a decent amount of biblically accurate stuff. Because there is a little bit of that in there, but it's fantasy. It's not real. It's not to be taken as like as the real world. It's like it's set in current day time period as a story. But not everything is to be taken 100% realistically. It's fantasy. That's the whole point of it. That's the whole point of writing fiction. It's not real. So like, in real life, if someone were to get possessed or whatever, they wouldn't have powers or whatever. But Simon in this fantasy world gains these powers to enhance his strength, grow extra limbs and wings, and his arm is obviously much too large for his body. But that's how he kind of starts out. He's very off balance and chaotic in design. But if we go back to talking about the story, so that's like the main character. What I wanted to draw, and you know what, I'll go ahead and pull that back up, because I do want to talk a bit more about this. The art style, what I wanted to go for whenever I started doing drawing was I wanted to replicate Teen Titans a lot, and this is a bit of an older drawing, so it doesn't represent it as well as the newer stuff, which I'll get to in a second. But I wanted to replicate the style of Teen Titans, which, by the way, before I did this, I've never done anything with comics or digital art or anything like that. It's all just been hand-drawn, hand-colored, stuff like that. But I started doing digital because of this. I've had a lot of fun with it, too. But basically, I wanted to replicate the look and tone, feel, just the writing of Teen Titans. Now, Teen Titans was, in my opinion, nearly a perfect show. It had a perfect blend of comedy, action, had a little bit of character moments thrown in there in some episodes, and good arcs for characters and such like that. Good stories as well that you could just root for the heroes and really look at them and say, wow, they're so cool. Wow. Me as a kid, I loved it. Me as an adult, I still love it. Because it's one of the best cartoons ever made. Don't at me. But I wanted to recreate that feel because I myself, first as an author, you got to think about this. Who are you writing to? And why are you writing that way? I feel like authors kind of have to write towards themselves a bit as well. And what I want to see more of is more really well made action cartoons, because we don't get many of them nowadays. Nowadays, like, we get stuff like Teen Titans Go instead of Teen Titans, right? We get Thundercats Roar is what it's called. I can't even remember. I've never even seen a clip from the show, which apparently it's canceled now. Yes. Anyway, but it's terrible, and it's almost like disrespect to the source material. I just want more action cartoons. I want more good action cartoons, and obviously this isn't a cartoon. But in a small way, I can look at this, look at my material and think, does this replicate what I loved in Teen Titans? And I can thoroughly say, after having multiple test readers, after reading and just doing so many changes over time and little tweaks here and there, I can confidently say that most people that I show the art to and most people that read it do tell me that they get the feel of Teen Titans, particularly with the art. And I'm glad. I'm very happy about that. And I've been trying to go with that kind of style and envision for it. But besides that, the other inspirations, stuff like Young Justice, Symbiotic Titan, which was a great cartoon that only got one season for some reason. It was so good. And other stuff too. I mean, I can keep naming it on and on, but the primary source is like action cartoons and stuff like that. As far as the writing style, it's I really like the style of the Star Wars Legend book of Kenobi, and Maul as well. The Maul Lockdown is one in particular had such a brutal way of writing action, and then Kenobi had a great way of telling stories of the world. But one thing that I didn't like about them, particularly with Kenobi, more than the Maul book, was it kind of dragged on a bit with the descriptions. So what I wanted to do was eliminate, because I found myself just skipping through the descriptions and going straight to the dialogue and seeing what the characters are thinking and doing and saying. I found myself skipping over stuff just to get to the next part of the conversation or fight or whatever. So what I did was, with this, I wanted to kind of make a hybrid for multiple reasons. One, to fix that problem I was talking about. Two, because making comics is hard. Making detailed pictures, and that's what I like to do. I like to put detail into it. For each scene, each area is very difficult, and especially when you're just one man doing this, it takes a lot of time. Me having a full-time job, also liking to play games and stuff like that, and having outside stuff besides work that keeps me plenty busy. It would be really hard. I probably wouldn't even be making this video. I probably wouldn't even be done with season 1 if I was trying to do it like a traditional comic. So what I ended up doing was a little bit of a hybrid. So I'll click on the first episode of season 2, and I'll show a little bit here. Oh, that's the ending. Dang it. There we go. So you can see there's a bit of a hybrid thing going on here. It's like a book with pictures, and I use this to kind of cut down on some of the unnecessary descriptions. I'll still do descriptions like this right here. This kind of describes the area, what's going on. But from the picture, picture's worth 1,000 words is what they say. And I truly believe that, because you can get so much out of this picture. Like, you can see it's by the ocean. There's a ship here. You got people moving around in forklifts. But you also got some thug-looking characters with weapons here. So that this is a shady operation. You don't even have to read a single word to figure that out. If you want more detail, it's right here. It's got more detail on what's going on. And even going further, there's the dialogue, and I also specifically like bold dialogue and italize thinking, like the character's thoughts. So. But yeah, and this is kind of the format of it. It's a picture, a couple paragraphs, another picture, a couple paragraphs, and stuff like that. I won't go too much into detail because I don't want to spoil anything. I will say that's the new season. That's the new look of it. The old one is a bit more simple, just because I didn't really know what I was doing whenever I first started. Let's just be honest. I'll be completely transparent with you. I do plan on remastering season 1. And going through, changing some of the art stuff as well. There's some of them that I don't think need too much change. Like this one, I think this one's pretty fine. I don't think I need to do too much to this one. But stuff like the text, it's just it looks a lot more boring with just words on white than having the lines and stuff separating paragraphs. I think the new way I'm doing it looks a lot better, a lot more eye-catching. But the writing quality is still like the same here. It's still really good. And that's just not me saying it from my opinion. That's me saying it from multiple test readers' opinions that my writing is good. Um, and I'm not saying I'm the best in the world. Surely I'm not. This is my first time writing something, but um, I've had people tell me you can feel the emotions from characters, you can understand what's going on, the action sequences, and whatnot. And there's a lot of uh, good descriptions without too much detail, like too much stuff that you don't really need to know. Um, but yeah, so moving on from that, that's basically how the comic reads, how it looks, um, why it looks that way, such as my inspirations, why it's created and composed this way. Um, so besides that, let's move on to some more pictures of some characters. So I showed you Simon. The next character you see is Timmy, little Timmy boy, little Afro boy. Anyway, I won't go into too much descriptions on like what the characters are and why they're in there. Um, but he's basically a lost boy. Simon finds him and has to has to basically look out for him as he tries to find his family because he's lost. Um, and this puts Simon in an interesting position because Simon himself is an orphan, hasn't had his parents around for several years, and has had to fight for himself basically, and it puts him in a position where he basically cares for no one else but himself. To he has someone that he's directly trying to find his parents. There's some sympathy there for him because he can see himself in Timmy. He can relate to that very well. So he's trying to help him out, and that's forcing Simon to basically care for someone else other than himself. Besides that, we also have the what I will call the second most main character is Ruth. Oh, what happened there? I don't know what happened. Anyway, okay, she is an exorcist, and an exorcist whose father does not approve of her being an exorcist, nor does he approve of her style of exorcism. As you see, there's a Glock 17 there, uh, but it's been modded to get ready for this. Shoot holy water. I ran this idea by my brother when I first had it. I said, what if he had he teamed up with an exorcist that used holy water guns? And he said that is so goofy. That is so that it's so weird. But I kind of wanted to go for weird. I didn't want to go for the regular the sprinkling salt and stuff like that. I wanted to go for a bit more of the ridiculous, the wacky kind of thing that brings me once again back to Teen Titans. You got characters like Beast Boy, which can turn into any animal. That's wacky. That's crazy. No one does that. You've got characters like Starfire, which is just constantly just kind of naive and really, really happy all the time. And then she's the strongest member of the team. Like she lifts freighters, boats, and beats enemies with it. It's it's that kind of wacky kind of contrast of character here. And you've got Ruth being this really happy character, really positive character compared to Simon, which is much more of a negative character. And you've got a lot of good contrast between the two. That it seems like everyone who's read it and is part of the Discord and like talks about the characters and stuff, it seems like everyone really likes Ruth because I mean, how wouldn't you like her? She's happy. She's a constant wave of positivity, and she's also very determined to prove herself, that she can do what she set out to do, and so you get this unlikely team not only personality wise, but you know who they are. Uh, she's an exorcist teaming up with a half demon, and basically trying to get him cured. You know, but that's the three main characters of the story. Now you also have some others. Let me go through here and get this one pulled up. You've also got characters like Judas, which there he is. Uh, and I'll go ahead and talk about the art style of the demon characters. Now, not every demon character is a straight up simple bad guy villain type of thing. Judas is very much kind of in the middle. I don't want to go too much into it, but he basically uh, frees Simon when he's first kidnapped and infected with the demonic blood, and Judas has some sympathy for him and lets him go. Checks in on him every now and then, and in a strange way, Simon kind of looks at him as a father figure, but at the same time, he doesn't want his help because he knows, uh, you know, his. Well, I can't really go much into just too many spoilers, but um, basically Simon is very pushy. He pushes people off and tries to just isolate himself because he that's just the way he is. He's just a very negative person. Um, and Judas basically tries to make sure he doesn't go down the same lines that he did in life, um, uh, which ultimately led him to hang himself. So it's an interesting kind of character there where you've got basically don't do what I did, and then you've got Simon doing, almost exactly what this character would have done. So this is Judas. And I'll talk about the art style of the demons. I forgot to focus on that. I wanted to go for a kind of mix between the red devil thing with the horns, the tail, the pitchfork type of thing. I gave them all like red skin, and like sharp claws, pointed ears, stuff like that. Not all of them have horns, but some of them do. And then I also wanted to combine that with um, the Twilight Zone way of depicting the devil, which was a man in a business suit. And it's not just in that either. It's in multiple media that you know that basically showcases demons or the devil as men in suits, as like con artists, sleazy businessmen, stuff like that. And I wanted to replicate that and sort of combine it with the other stereotypes. So this is essentially the two that exist. And I know someone will probably say something if they haven't already. They just haven't told it to me. Um, just for the record, for the record, the the cartoons. What's the first one called? Has Been Hotel and Hell of a Boss. One did not even release. Did not even release their first episodes before I even started doing this, so I didn't even know they existed. And I know they've been like doing hints and stuff about it throughout the years, but I didn't even know those shows existed, which do have a similar design to this. Mine is much more, I guess, realistically like portioned in how they are. Like I said, more focused on like the Teen Titans type of like body proportions and stuff like that. Whereas Has Been Hotel is very much full cartoony. I would say it's most similar to a Disney cartoon in how it looks, which is a huge compliment, by the way. That's a compliment. Their team of animators, voice actors, and everything, like writers, they did a fine job with both those shows. But or at least both first episodes. I don't know if there's any more left. I haven't watched, I haven't really watched it. But yeah, but this that's basically the whole design scheme is just red men in suits. But here we go. But let's go ahead and move on to the next character. I'll show you the main antagonist being Saul, the Persecutor. Now this is Saul. This is one of the newer art like character arts I've done. You can tell for multiple reasons. Why? One, it looks so much better. Two, Creator Judas, right? There's so much more shading detail and stuff like that. You get what I mean. There's a lot more detail on the outfit as well. Shadows and stuff like that on the hand. But also you can tell because I always put this streak of light in their hair to make it look a little bit better uh, than than the old stuff. And that was something that they did in Teen Titans that I really liked, and somehow I just overlooked that when I was drawing the first stuff. But but yeah, this is him. You know, he looks exactly like you would think a con artist from hell would look like. He's the one who tricked Simon into signing the contract, and if you couldn't tell by the giant monster behind him, he transforms into that. He transforms to this bull monster type thing, um, and he's a big tough guy for Simon, Ruth, and Timmy to deal with, and voice crash, and you get to see them fight multiple times throughout the series, and no, he is not the devil. He is Saul. The devil technically has a character in this, but very 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 hands off, very much in the background, um, for multiple reasons. But the main thing is, you know, I don't I don't want to make I don't want to make the devil a cool character, because then the strange way that's glorifying or potentially could lead people to idolize this character, and I don't want them to do that. I don't want people to do that. I would rather them um, look up to uh, the hero type characters, even though I wouldn't really say there's necessarily a hero. Well, there is one character, which I'll get to. But it basically, I would rather people fall, if they're gonna fall in love with a character, fall in love with a character that's fictional. That's this, that has a bit more to work with here. So because Saul is like is a character, and by the way, all their names are based off of biblical characters. But and it potentially could mean something with the characters. They could have something related. They could just not. Um, I just thought, I was thinking of names for this guy, and I was like, Saul sounds really cool. To be honest, that was like the main motivator. I was like, yeah, that's a cool villain name. Uh, but anyway, so yeah, this guy's like the main antagonist. He's very much like um, he's very like quick tempered, uh, kind of strategic, because he wants to plan out how to kill Simon, how to steal his soul, and honor his deal that he forced or tricked Simon into signing. And very conniving, tries to like take advantage of every situation he's in to make it turn out good on his end. Doesn't really care what happens to other people. It's him and him alone. And in a way, he kind of is the antithesis of what, I think I'm saying that word right, of the main character of Simon, where Simon at the very beginning, he's very much like self-centered and doesn't care about anyone else. And Saul is basically the exact same way, but 1,000% more evil. But yeah, so this character, I like the design. He was the first. I think he was the first villain I drew, um, and his design honestly hasn't changed too much besides from when I first drew him. There wasn't really much changing to it. The design, I think, is pretty solid. I think it's you can look at him and tell just how he is from his facial expression, his pose. You can read the character pretty well from just that. But yeah, so let's move on to one more character, which is Samson the Strong. This character, I'm not gonna go into too much about him, but he's the closest you could get to like the superhero of the comic. He very much thinks of himself as like Superman, and he I wanted to make his design look very different compared to the other characters, because a lot of them are gonna be red, but this guy I wanted to make very different. He's all muscle, just stretchy, flexible type of character. Very big, powerful, strong guy, and and he's the funniest character. I write the most jokes with him than I do any other character, I believe. Now I could be wrong about that, but uh, he's very much a kind of a laughing point. Though he is still important, he's not just a comic relief character that just makes annoying jokes and you hate to see him because he's taking up time from other characters. I want to avoid that as much as possible because I personally hate that when a character is just comic relief and nothing else. I want them to be more interesting than that, than just a punching bag for jokes. I'd much rather them get some more mileage out of characters like that in movies and shows. So I basically try to replicate that, but add more point to the character being in here. But yeah, so that's Samson. That's pretty much all the main characters. There's some more. In season 2, there's a new antagonist that shows up. Not the main one, but an additional one named Delilah. And she's a totally different threat. She's kind of based off of a snake, somewhat. More like Medusa, but I didn't want to make the generic Medusa character with the snakes coming out of her hair, or snakes for hair, turn people to stone. I didn't want to do that, so I reversed it. She can turn herself to stone, and I thought that was at least a different way to portray that type of character. But yeah, whereas Saul tries to offer people deals that are too good to be true, and kind of at some points brute forces his way to get things to work. Delilah is very much the seductive character. How can I get other people to do what I want, what I want for me? And if she needs to get her hands dirty, she can do it. She's very strong, just like the other villains as well. And she is a potent force in season 2. So look forward to seeing her quite a bit. Let's see, and then the last thing I want to show is some art panels, starting with the earliest stuff and going to the newest stuff here. So this one, you saw this one from issue 1 that I showed a little bit of, and this one honestly I still really like. I don't really think I'll make any big changes here. I like the lighting on his face, the rain and whatnot. If anything, I may make his hair have a bit more shine to it, but besides that, I like the way this looks. But a lot of stuff in the first few issues, I will go back and touch up a bit. But right now, I'm focusing on season 2. Once I'm done with all season 2's art in its entirety, which shouldn't take too much longer now, I will go back and revamp season 1 in preparation for the 3rd season. But yeah, but basically with this, you've got you see the art style here. The next one, which like I said, I'm not going to show you everything, and they're not necessarily in the same episodes. But this one, this has a lot of character moments. You can just see a lot of character stuff. Simon is very much kind of the why am I letting her do this? That's how he kind of looks right now. You've got Timmy, which is kind of more curious than anything, and then you've got Ruth, which is just kind of weird, just kind of the weird character, sniffing his arm. But out of context, this looks really weird. But it makes more sense. I swear. You gotta read it. You gotta read it to get the context. Oh Lord. Anyway, but and like I was saying earlier, with detailed backgrounds, I like to fill it with detail. You can see back here, it's kind of covered up by the block here, but there's like cabinets in the kitchen area. There's like cracks in the wall. A picture frame is tilted. Stuff like that. There's a couch, and I made it look really dirty. Stuff like that. You can see like Ruth with like her weapons and everything, and Simon's hoodie has like quite a bit of detail on it, like the pocket, the lines. Timmy's jacket has a bunch of stripes and stuff like that going on. So uh, if I were to do this, if I were to do like a traditional comic where everything is a picture with some text on it from the characters, then it would be a quite a bit simpler look than what I got here. But let's see what's next on the itinerary. This is a shot that I like. That turned out really cool. Running down the halls of a school from a bunch of monsters, and that's about like that's pretty typical action adventure type of comic slash cartoon type of thing to have in here. Um, but it's something that I feel like is it's pretty necessary because you get to see some bonding moments from these two characters. You get to see how they work together, if they work well or not together, stuff like that, and how they use their skills slash equipment to get out of tough situations that most people would not be able to get out of. But and there was also a design change from season 1 to season 2. Some characters had some slight differences because I like it whenever shows do that. So Ruth goes from having her hair up like this to having her hair down. Um, but let's see. I guess I can move on to the next one. Oh, and Simon has an eye patch. I think I forgot to mention that. He takes it off whenever he's using his powers. Here's another villain. Another villain from season 1, which he's called the Hunter. But really, his name is Legion, and he has. That's where you saw all the monsters in the hallway. He has all of them, and he says, "We are as one, but many." And there are many of these things in these crates, as you can see. Got the eye glow, sunset of like in front of the ocean. This is like a boat he's on right now, so it's like I said again, quite a bit of detail. Not like super hyper realistic detailed, because I honestly don't like it when comics do that. I like it when they have a bit of cartooniness to them. But it's not like so simplistic. Like you see the details of stuff like the shading and whatnot, the fading, the glows, and stuff like that. The eyes are varying sizes, and if they, like I said, if this was a traditional comic, this picture would be a lot simpler. Moving on, I got a few more. I'm not going to show you everything. I'm just going to show you a few of them. I tend to do this action scene, and if you want to know my inspiration specifically for this, look up the first episode of Teen Titans. And there's scenes like this where, for example, Starfire kicks Cinderblock, and instead of showing the prison background of that episode, they just show a color that kind of explodes into multiple things. Multiple colors here. It starts off light, then it gradually gets darker as it goes out. And I created this from scratch. Put lines in there, action lines, stuff like that. For the characters moving, like Simon is lunging forward with his fist to show more power and movement to that. I put lines behind him and like behind his fist. Same thing with Samson over here, which is a much larger opponent. He's like kind of hunched over, about to hit him with both fists, and yeah, stuff like that. Movement is key to showcase in comics, since you can't do motion in comics, so you have to get creative with how you showcase it, and lines are about the closest way you can truly replicate that. And I'm still improving. Here is some more screenshots from the most recent episode of season 2. You've got Simon using a new power that he has achieved, a sonic screech, so to speak. And once again, on a boat, because like I said, it's on a floating city. There's a lot of boats. There's a lot of water and settings that are like at harbors and stuff like that. Again, with detail, with the lighting and the kind of echo effects here. Guy being launched back, sheen like shine on the characters from lighting, stuff like that on the edges of them, and you can just, I don't think I have to explain this. You can see what I mean. And then one last picture, which everyone in the Discord loves: Ruth winking and blessing your day. I think a lot of people, like a few people, were like really going crazy over her with long hair in this picture, and I was like, "Yep, I think people like it." But yeah, stuff like that. Just that's what you can kind of expect to see in the comic, and I hope that you can tell a big difference uh, from this right here, like this picture to this picture from early on. You can clearly see there's like a difference in how I'm doing the shading, how I'm doing the the characters, the details, stuff like that between this much older shot and this much newer one. There's a lot more, I think, refinement to my art style. Which isn't just like, it's not just Teen Titans. It's kind of a mix of Teen Titans and anime. Which Teen Titans, by the way, was very much influenced by anime. Look it up. It's very interesting to hear about, um, like Teen Titans and how it was made and stuff like that. I find that stuff very interesting. But I'm a production nerd, so whatever. You might not, but I find it very interesting. But yeah, like I'm refining my art style, trying to um, get it as consistent as possible while also looking fresh and interesting for the reader to enjoy. But the viewer, I guess, because you're reading and looking, using your eyes. Okay, but that's basically it. I just wanted to tell you about that. There's a few things I want to say before I get out of here, and that is join the Discord. Of course, if you have a Webtoon account, subscribe to Demonico on there. If you don't have one, it's free to make. The site is completely free to use, and since I've made this, by the way, I'll say this too. Since I've started, making this comic and decided that I was going to post it on Webtoon, I started giving this community a chance of reading what they make. There's some really good stuff on here. There's genuinely a lot of talent with the artist, with the writing. It's just it's a very good. There's in Canvas, which is where I'm at because everyone has to start a Canvas before they go to an original. In Canvas, there's some stinkers, right? There's some 12-year-old making some doodles that he thinks is really cool because it's edgy, uh, and and uh, and thinks he can write an epic saga or something. But there's some good stuff in Canvas too. There's most of the stuff in original is pretty safe to assume that you're gonna like it unless you just don't like the style. But one more thing. Yes, Simon is very edgy. Simon, the character himself, looks very edgy. He's like a lone wolf. He's got that stuff to it. But that was part of the thing I wanted to appeal to people with this. I wanted to grab the teen audience, the audience that dare I say it, the emo kids, that feel like they're alone, that feel like they don't have a friend in the world, or maybe it's a teen that hasn't grown up with their parents, right? Or they hate their parents because of like a divorce or something, right? Stuff like that. I want kids like that to be able to read this and look at Simon and have some hope in themselves. That Simon starts off as a very lone wolf kind of selfish character, and if they can see themselves in any part of Simon, not saying that they can see themselves in every part, but in some aspect, I think really everyone can see themselves in Simon, who end up reading this and see that that if you reach out, if you try and find, if you look for people to to help you and actually try and not just be on yourself, try and look for support from others, there are people that will help you. There are people that will be there for you, like Ruth, and stuff like that. And that's what I'm going for, is to try and grab that audience, rope them in with a nice action comic that blends in some funny moments, like the Teen Titans formula, and and that they can see some hope for themselves in this. That is my goal. That is my main goal for readers with this, and not just the teen demographic. I think this could be read by anyone, and they'll enjoy it. But yeah, and the last thing I'll say is the links in the description. Of course, follow the comic on Webtoon. Account is free to make. Discord, join that if you're wanting to become part of the community. I announce on Discord that, if I have any giveaways or something, or a contest going on, I will announce it on Discord first, before I announce it on Instagram and Twitter. And speaking of, follow me on Instagram and Twitter as well if you want to see some updates and for arts for the comic. I usually will post all my trailers on Instagram and promote my stuff that way. But I'll also do other stuff like just hand drawing, like fan art, stuff like that. I try and do stuff like Fan Art Friday, but I'm not really good at being consistent with it. But yeah, that's just the end of this video. I just wanted to show you guys what I've been working on, why there hasn't been so many videos on the channel, and it's more focused on streaming on Twitch now because my time is dedicated to this. My free time is dedicated to this, and I hope you understand. Hope you'll give it a read. Hope you'll enjoy it. And until next time, peace out.